Hello and welcome to part 2 of this video. So in the first part, we ended the video by just reading this question: what is the total sales amount? Now, for us to answer the question, we need to populate the total sales table or total sales amount column, which is just right here. Okay, and when you look through the columns, we have the column for unit price for each of the products, and we have the column for quantity sold. So for this particular sales or this particular entry, represents a sale, and this sale has 18 of these products, the furniture products sold, and the unit price for selling this is 26 267.22. Let's be sure of the currency so that I work with the exact currency. Is it in naira or in dollars? Let's see total amount. The total sales amount for transaction, including the discounts, if any. The values range from 100 to 10,000 in currency units. So what currency are we working with? All right, so since a currency was not specified here, I will work with naira. I'm not seeing any currency here. So, and since we're in Nigeria, we'll be assuming that these sales, all the sales here were done in naira. So for that, for all the price column, I'm going to add the naira symbol here. Windows full stop will open this emoji and more icon or dialog box where I can select my naira symbol, and then we have the naira symbol. Let's copy it and paste it on all the columns that are about amount or money. All right, so on unit cost also, let's assume this is in naira, and on the, where is it? Okay, the total sales amount, let's also assume this is in naira. Okay, so back to the data dictionary. Data dictionary says that the sales amount is the total sales amount for, do we have any column called sales amount? Let's check. Any column called sales amount? We have sales date, sales rep, sales amount. Oh, this is the sales amount column. All right, sales amount column. And this sales amount says, so let me see something. We'll multiply the quantity sold by the unit price. Let me just do that multiplication, equal to the quantity sold H2 times unit price K2. That gave us 4,000, 4,809, but the sales amount here is 5,053.97. So which means that I think at this point the discount, right, hasn't been taken out of this amount, the sales amount. So the discount, the is not yet discounted. So let me see. Okay, I think, sorry, it has been discounted because when you add this times this, so let me be sure if it's actually because of the discount that the sales amount for what we just calculated dropped to this amount. So for me to confirm that, I would need to add 9%, because the discount for this particular sale is 9% of the sales amount. So I will add 9% of this amount, 9% of 4,809 to the amount itself. So I will just put this in a bracket. Let's wrap this inside a bracket and copy this formula, copy, then add 9% of it. So I'm going to multiply this guy by the discount and add it to it. So now we have 5,242. Oh, that is still not the same value. So let's see what the sales amount is again. I just want to understand what's happening before I go ahead. The dictionary says the sales amount is the total sales amount for the transaction, including discounts, if any. Okay, so discount is included, so which means that discount hasn't been taken out from that value. All right, discount hasn't been taken out from the value. That is sales amount. And let's see, what else do we have? We have the discount and we have the unit price. Okay, so since the discount hasn't been taken out, for us to know the actual sales amount for this particular product, we would need to take out discount. But but since we have, so I think there's something wrong with this, right? Let me just shade this particular column green. All right, let me shade it green, because if I have quantity sold and I have unit price, right? So it means that the sales amount, the amount that I use in selling this product, is going to be the total quantity sold multiplied by the unit price. That should give me the amount. All right, and if that should give me the amount, so it means that for me to have the actual amount, I would need to discount 9%. I will need to take out the discount, the 9% of the sales amount. So I'm not sure of this value. All right, I'm not sure of how they got this value, because I we just tried it out, multiplied the quantity sold by the unit price, and yet we didn't get this, even though when we added the discount, because we're told from the instruction that, or the data dictionary, that this value has a discount in it. And when we added the discount, we weren't getting that actual number. So what I'll be doing is I will need to assume, let me assume this sales amount column is not there. I'm going to hide this and work with other columns. So what I'll be doing is, for me to calculate the total sales amount, I will multiply the quantity sold by the unit price, right? And I'll take out the discount, okay, from the total. So with the assumption that this unit price hasn't been discounted. That is my assumption rather, that the unit price hasn't been discounted. So, and to do that, this is going to be equal to the unit price multiplied by the the quantity sold multiplied by the unit price, that is H2 times K2, and that gave us 4,809. And like I said, I would need to take out the discount, so which means this will be wrapped in the bracket, and to take out discount, 99% of this amount, that's going to be minus the same product, KH2 times K2, all right, times the discount, 9% of it. So when we do this, we obtain, let me accept this autofill suggestion. So you obtain 4,377.06 naira. So which means that all the products sold, so I think this should be in dollars, because for you to have 18 furniture sold and then you're getting 4,000, so this should be in dollars. So I think we need to change these currencies to dollars. It just makes sense that it should be in dollars and not in naira. So please just pardon me for this. Let's go ahead and change the currency to dollars. So that is going to be in dollars. This is also going to be in dollars. This is just an assumption, right? Because I can't see the currency being specified in the dictionary, and we need to work with a particular currency. That is also in dollars. So for the first sale, right, we have $4,377. Haven't considered the discount. All right, we've discounted that total sales, and this is all the total sales we have here. So like again, to know the total sales amount, we need to take the sum of this total sales amount column that we've just obtained. All right, and to do that, I would display that on a card. So I'll start by selecting the first cell, which is Q2, and hold Shift, Control, and my page down arrow key, or my down arrow navigation key. It helps me to highlight the entire 1,000 rows. Okay, you can see we have 1,001 because we started from row 2 to row 1,001. That is 1,000 rows. Okay, and now that they are all highlighted, the next step is to go to the insert menu, click on chart. All right, so once you do this, Google Sheet, of course, will recommend a chart for us. Let's see what chart was recommended. So Google Sheet recommended a line graph, all right, but this is not what I want. I want a card. So it means, and automatically the chart editor will pop up, but just in case it didn't pop up, you can activate it by clicking on these three dots here, ellipsis, and select edit chart. Once you do that, the chart editor pane will pop up. So under the chart editor pane, select the chart type. Let's scroll down to select card. So this is what I want, card. And once you select card, the value that will show on the card will be the first value on your table. which is $4,377.06. But that is not our intention. We want the sum of the entire the entire sales amount. So for us to obtain the sum, still come under the chart editor and check the box for aggregate. Ensure that what you're seeing here is the setup. Select aggregate, and once that is done, it gives us the aggregate, and the aggregate that's selected for us is sum, which is what we want to see actually. There are different aggregates. If we're interested in the average, you can change this to average. So this is the average total sales. If you're interested in the count, you do a count, say 1,000 products were sold, which is correct. If you're interested in the maximum total sales amount, this is the maximum total sales amount, $249,625, and so on and so forth. But our interest is the sum because we want to get the total. So this is a little bit above 59 million, a little bit above 60, in fact 69.5 million. That is approximated, or 59 rather, $59.7 million. So this figure is too large to be displayed on a card. What I would like to do is to maybe change it to 2 decimal places, approximate it to decimal places, have my dollar sign displayed by the left, and in this is going to be in thousand or in million. 1, 2. This is going to be a million. So 59.7 M. Let's format that under the customize section. Go to customize, go to key value, and then you select scale factor. I want to scale it by 1 million. Oh, this is too large. So this is a billion rather. So this is 1 million. Aha. All right. And let's take it to from our custom number format. I want to use custom format, and this is going to be suffix. Suffix means something that comes after, that is M. So 59.69 million, and prefix should be the dollar sign. All right, this makes sense. So I think this is perfect so far. We are going to do other formatting, but for now, let's just attend all the questions first. I'll cut this, and I need to add a new tab or a sheet, which I will call my dashboard. Okay, let's call this dashboard. All right, and I'll be pasting all the charts here. So let's get back to clean data, cut this guy, and paste it right here. Great. So this is the dashboard where I'll be populating all the charts, right? And I think the formatting of the charts will be done in a third part of this video, but this second part, let's just try to answer the questions and create all the charts that we are required to create. So this question will be answered by the chart. Look at the chart that your tutor suggested that we should create. I'm already creating the chart by answering these questions. So the chart that answered that question is chart 6. Create a card for total sales amount. I know this next question is not, or this next chart that was suggested by your tutor to create may not be part of the questions, or it might be part of the questions. This one that says create a card for total number of transactions. Is there anything like that? Which sales this is, so there is no number of transactions, but that is fine. That is as part of the questions, but since it is already tutor had already suggested that we create the chart, let's go ahead and create the chart. So for number of transactions, all we need to do is to count, right? Just do a count of the ID. You can do a count of anything, but let's just do a count of the product ID to tell us how many transactions we have there. So I have highlighted everything excluding the title, the column title. Go to insert, do the same thing, select chart, and next you choose card as we did earlier. The chart is above, so here is it, and it's showing us 1052 because that is the first entry on the column, but we want an aggregate, and the aggregate that we want is not a sum, we want a count. All right, so this is 1,000 transaction. So we have 1,000 transactions made. Okay, 1,000 transactions made. So I would also cut this guy and we'll take it to the dashboard view. Control V. Awesome. So this is 1,000 transactions that we had here. We've got in here. Then the next chart that was recommended to be created is create a card for, so I'm starting from the bottom. Yeah, I want to create all the cards first before I start creating the other charts. Let's just highlight this one as green. The third one is create a let me just number this number 8, and this number 8, sorry, and here is number 9. So it says create a card for total number of products. Total number of products. So let's see how many products we have there. All right. Back to my clean data. So let's delete this guy since we've taken it to the dashboard view. Products. So here is product category. Okay. And the products, do we have any products column that tells us the different products that were sold? What we have here is product category. We don't have the different products sold, so I will assume that the question is saying that we should create a chart to show the total distinct products, the different product categories, instead of just products. So let's highlight everything here and do the same thing. Insert, and let's do a chart. Insert chart, and I know Google Sheet must have inserted, say it suggested a line graph, but I don't want a line graph, I want a card also. And this is what it's giving us. It's giving us a count of each of those products, but we want a distinct count. So I see, because what we're seeing here is just a count of the entire rows, but we want to do a distinct count of the rows of the different products. There are other ways to do it. I'm trying to see if I can actually do it this way. Okay, I don't think this method is best. So I think the best thing for us to do is to create a pivot table so that it gives us the distinct count of the products we have there. So let's just go ahead and do a pivot table. I'll delete this chart and insert a pivot table. So at this point, we need a pivot table. Go to insert menu and select pivot table. All right, so my pivot table is gotten from this table called the sales data. So it's highlighting all the columns, which is fine. That is what I want for the data range. And excuse me, and it's showing you the name of the table because I actually renamed this table as sales table, or sales data rather. Oh, did I call it sales data? Sorry, sales data. Now it's going to show us sales data because I renamed it as sales data. Now if this page or this data wasn't converted to a table, what would have been seen here would have been a range. Let me just show you real quick. So let me insert the pivot table from this data set that is not actually a table. When I come to insert and you select pivot table, what you would see is a range, Austin A1 to Q1001. That is because it is not a table. But when you're creating a pivot table from a table, right, what you will see is the name of the table and not a range. Okay, so just so that you're not confused in case you saw a different thing or you're going to see a different thing in your table. Ensure that you have converted the data set to a table if you want to see the same thing, and make sure you rename this. If you don't rename your table, what you'll be seeing here will be table 1, but I've given it sales data, and that is why you see it's called sales data. So I want this pivot table to be entered in a new sheet. So new sheet is selected, and I'm going to click on create. And once that is done, you can see that a new sheet has been entered. It's called pivot table 9. That is because I have created some pivot tables before now and I deleted them. But if this is going to be the first pivot table you'll be creating, you just see pivot table, all right, pivot table 1. So that's fine. Let's now go ahead and create the pivot table of what we intend to show. So on the rows, I want my product category to be on the rows, and this is all I want for now. Okay, I don't want any value because I just want to do a count of these guys, the distinct product categories. And now that we have it here, when I go to I'll highlight all the rows. So if I like, I highlight everything. Now if I don't want the total grant, the grant to be there, so I'm going to do what, show table. So I've unchecked this, show totals. So I uncheck this because I don't want totals to show. So I'm going to highlight this, click on insert and select chart. Now the chart is being created and it says, hey guy, add a series. So but what I want from this chart I have highlighted is actually an aggregate, and the aggregate I want is just a count. So I would do this and select a card because I want my chart to be on a card, and it's saying that, hey, that the text columns can only aggregate by count. So because what we're having here is sum. That's why we're not seeing anything on the card, and it's giving us a kind of error message. So we're going to change the sum to count. Oh, this is taking us as a sum. Okay, great. So we're going to change the sum to count because that's what we want and not, yeah, great. So it's giving us 5 here because I added the product category to the what's it called, to the range that I selected. And to correct that, I can just come over here and say, please, I have an intention of selecting just from A2 to A5. So now we are saying 4, which makes sense. All right. We can always come here and go to the title and give the card a title. I can give it a title. This is called product number of product category. I can just give it hashtag product category. So that stands for number. I can always edit this anytime I want to do that. So at the product category, this makes sense. Now with this card that we have here, we can actually take it from here to the dashboard and we populate it. Just okay. So this is I didn't copy it actually. Let's try again. Control C to copy, and we're going to paste it here. Control V to paste. Great. All right, so we are building our dashboard gradually. I'll take this off now. Delete. Now back to the charts and the questions. All right, so we are done with the 3 cards. Let's start with the first one. The first card that was suggested to be created is, so I think we've answered this question. I'll just shade each question that we answer and the charts that we've created. This one says create a line chart showing sales amount over time. Sales amount over time, which question would that answer? Which sales record represent the highest? No. What is the total amount? No. Which day of the week had the, all right, so that will answer this question, right? But um but it's not going to answer it directly, right? Because this is overtime. If I do overtime, and you will see that the date, select the date column or sales date column, has not just the day, it has the day, the month, and the year. But that is what I was going to use to, that's what I would have used to create this chart by the instruction. But to answer this question that has to do with which day of the week had the highest number of transactions, I need day of the week. Okay, I need day of the week and not just the entire chart. And I'm not sure if Google Sheets can give us that option to drill down our line graph. So for me to answer this question, for me to create this chart, I need to modify it. I want to do it for days of the week and not just the entire date column. So I'll come to my clean data set, and so we have, do we have any column for day? No, we don't have column for day. We have to insert the day column right here. So I would have to enter a new column between sales date and the month. I'm selecting column B, right click and choose insert one column to the right. I'll rename this as day. Yeah, day. Let me just call it day. And I would be using a text function. There's a function called text to actually extract the day from this date column. So, or the date data. So I select text open bracket B2, which is the first date data, comma, then give a format because I want the day of the week, but I want the day to be in 3 letters. I would enter a string, double quote, open a double quote, and put DD. D stands for day. So if I do DD, it's going to be giving me the days in numbers, numeric form 03. But I want it to be in text, but 3 letters. So I'll make it 3 Ds, DDD. You can see Friday. So this is a Friday. If I put 4 Ds, it gives me Friday in full. But I want it 3 letters, so I leave it at DDD. Close the open quote, close my bracket, and hit enter. And that's it. This has been done. Google Sheet has given me the autofill suggested suggestion, which I can accept or reject. But this is what I want, so I'm going to accept it. So with what we have, we can actually create that chart now. The chart that says create a line graph showing sales amount over time. All right, but this time is the day, to be specific. If we have other questions, so we are trying to answer this question, which day of the week? All right. So if we have other questions, which year generated the highest? Okay, I think we have to do another chart for year, but I can still do general time series. But let's just answer this question first by just doing the one for day, and that might not be even a line chart, it might be a column chart. All right, so let's go ahead and create this chart since we've created the day column. Going back to my pivot table, I'll make a copy of this pivot table that was created earlier, paste it here. The rows will change to the day of the week that we just calculated or created. That is the day. And then the values will be, let's go back to the question to understand what we need as the value. Which day of the week had the highest number of transactions? Highest number of transactions. So the transactions we'll be doing here is, this entry, this row is a transaction, right? That was done on this day. This is another transaction on another day. This is another transaction. So each row are different transactions. So we have 1,000 transactions in total. So what we'll be doing for our pivot table is going to be a count. We'll be counting the product ID. Values will be product ID, but that's going to be a count of the product ID. We don't want a sum, but we want a count. Great. So these are the different transactions that were made in different days. So from the look of things, it appears that Thursday happened to be the transaction with the highest, the day with the highest transaction. But we want to display this on a chart. So I would highlight the row. Of course, I don't want the total to show. So I'll highlight including the column titles, go to insert, select my chart, and I want, so this now is suggesting a scorecard, but I don't want a scorecard this time around. What I want is actually a, let's start with a bar chart and see how it looks like. All right. This is not looking good. So far, so good. The chart is fine, but not looking good because the days of the week are, this is an example of ordinal data. Remember when we're doing our data introduction to data analytics, we spoke about ordinal and nominal data. We said ordinal data are categorical data that have natural order being placed on them. So that means naturally they must always be arranged in chronological order. But as you can see, our days of the week are not arranged in chronological order. We have Friday, Monday, Saturday, which is not well arranged. So the first day of the week should be Sunday, followed by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on. So for us to sort this, we would have done the sorting from the pivot table. In fact, the pivot table is the best place to do the sorting. When I come to the pivot table, if you look at categorized by, so we're categorizing by count. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Order. So we're doing an ascending sorting, which is already done, and it's being sorted by day. So this sorting is done already, but unfortunately, Google Sheet is doing the alphabetical order of sorting, and it's not so because Google Sheet does not understand the context of the ordinal data for this day of the week we have here, which means that we need to do something to solve this problem, right? We need to find a way to sort it, okay, so that we can actually work with the sorted range. And one way to do it in Power BI, there is another way to do it in Power BI. When we start Power BI, I'll show you a very fantastic way to do it. But one smart way to do it here on Google Sheet is to use two functions. So I'm going to be introducing you guys to two functions. So for now, I would reduce this. I'm not going to move this chart to the dashboard because we're not going to be using this chart. But let me just keep it here for the sake of explanation, comparison. So I'll be introducing you guys to two different charts or two different functions. It's called match and sort. The match and sort match or sort match function. Sort match function. All right. So sort match function is what I want to use to do this. So what the sort? Let me start with the match function. I'll put equal to. I will type the function, then explain it to you guys. Match. What do I want to match? I want to match this range. So search key. I want to match this data, right? The entire range of data here. How do I want to match it? What range? So I want to match it. I'll give it the day of the week arranged in a chronological order, just like I want it. So I'll be putting that in a curly bracket. So open and close this curly braces, then put the day of the week here or days of the week. Now I'll be writing them as text, as strings. So open double quotes, put SUN for Sunday, comma, the next day should be Monday, comma, the next day should be Tuesday. So I'm spelling them exactly the way they are spelled here. Then, comma, the next day is Wednesday, comma, the next day is Thursday, capital T, uh, comma, the next day is Friday, and the last day is Saturday. Okay, so once this is done, that is the range, then comma, is sorted true. Yes, I want it to be sorted. No, search range. So no. So that means this search is not done in any order. I just want it that way. And I'm going to close my brackets, and I'm getting an error. Let me see what the error is first so that I can see. The default output of this reference is a single cell. Is a single cell in the row, in the same row, but a matching value could not be found. To get the values for the entire range, use array amount. Okay, I see. So let me go ahead and let's put this as true. Okay, no, still not working. Let me see what's the problem with this function. What's the problem with this function? This function should work, right? Match A0, match from A10 to A16. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 1, 2, so there's 7 in number. I've captured all the days of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And I say it is not sorted in that order. What else do we want? What else do we want to see? Okay, still giving me this value error. So let me check what's up with this. Let me understand what's going on before I continue. I'm going to stop this recording here and then continue later.